Hey everyone, welcome to Catalyst Energies. My name is Dee. Thank you for joining me. I'm so grateful that you're here for this, I would say this Christmas astrology report. We're going to be looking at the astrology of today, the 24th, Christmas Eve, the 25th, and into the 26th when the moon moves into Gemini, just to kind of give a little heads up about what to expect over the next couple of days. And, since I'm going to be stepping away for a bit, I wanted to at least put some information out there so that we're prepared for what's possibly to come and to, be aware of the astrological weather that is unfolding. So no real predictions here, only forecasting, right? Just like with the weather. We live in a dynamic process, in a dynamic universe, and things are always in motion and always changing. But we can look at the map and we can look at the variables and we can forecast, right? Not necessarily make predictions, but we can make forecasts for what's ahead. And it's always about our own personal choice in every single one of these moments, okay? What we're just looking at is the cycles unfolding, and we get to choose how we are going to interact with them as they unfold. So we're looking at Christmas Eve right now, the 24th, and our moon is in Taurus. The daily medicine for today was so beautiful. We have really arrived at a point of liberation and redemption. And the moon really likes to be in the sign of Taurus. This is embedded in the soil, and it's, these feminine signatures of the moon representing the water and the intuitive emotional landscape, whereas Taurus is the actual physical landscape. It is the soil in which we are embedded and holds us just like the container that Cancer represents, which is the home sign of the moon. So there is a connection here, or at least a familiarity with being held and holding space that Taurus represents. And so the moon is really very happy in this place. And this is the moment when we've come out of that chute from the Jupiter-Saturn conjunction, where we were propelled forward into our future, just like a spark of electricity, a current of energy moving, and we've reached a point of homeostasis, at least for a moment. Now, this requires a certain amount of faith. This requires some patience and the ability to relax and to reflect and to embed ourselves into the soil. When a seed is planted, there's really not much else we can do about that process, and we just have to wait and see if it is in the ability of that seed. If it is meant to be for that seed to germinate, then it will. And there's certainly different environmental factors that will support this process. Of course, that the soil has all the aspects that it needs, that the temperature is the right temperature, that the moisture is at the right level, the pH of the soil is where it needs to be, all of these things. But really, it's about what's going on inside of that seed that determines whether or not the germination will happen and we will get that first sprout of consciousness, which is really going to come out when the moon moves into Gemini on the 26th. So right now, especially with the holidays, this is kind of very, very aptly timed that we can really just embed ourselves into the world around us and relax and have faith and trust in this process as it unfolds. There's no rushing a natural process. There's no way to artificially, there is, I'm sure, a way to artificially push this along, but it's not natural. We need to follow natural law and allow this process within us to unfold naturally. So what's going on today? Well, the moon, as you can see right here, is in a trine to our Capricorn sun. We have the Mercury in Capricorn, which means the sun or the moon's going to trine Mercury as well. We have this stellium in Capricorn. Saturn and Jupiter have left Capricorn, but we still have Pluto here. So we technically have a stellium of 3 planets in a sign of Capricorn. This is about power, authority, structure, group integration, group activation. This is all of us coming together and and creating something, participating in something. Capricorn is the zenith of the chart. It is the pinnacle, what we are here to collectively do. And now that the sun, our creative expression, the blossoming of our personality, the fulfillment of who we are, plus Mercury, the realm of our mind and objective reality, and our communication, our thought processes, this is all really focused on this group effort right now to create something, which is interesting because we still have Pluto here, which is on the other end of Capricorn, kind of pulling away everything and creating space for something new to come in. And that seems to be very much the overall theme for these next couple of days, to really just get into that mode of allowing for space to be created for something new to come forward. So there's a trine, an earth trine with the Taurus moon to the sun. We also are going to have, like I said, an earth trine to the Taurus moon to Mercury. And the moon is going to meet Uranus at the same point today. And so there is this potential here, if we can get rid of these old obsolete patterns, let go of the past that's not working for us. And this will be supported and brought along very quickly with Uranus, because Uranus is radical transformation, the psychological crisis that triggers this transformation. And in Taurus, we're talking about the realm of actual physical reality. And this is going to come back. This is the degree that Uranus is going to station direct in just about 3 weeks. And so this position is very important right now to pay attention to, because it does speak to the necessity of letting go of the past traditions, letting go of the past and obsolete patterns in order to be able to see where we are going. And Uranus, especially when it goes direct, is going to really shake things up, to provide that psychological crisis, to provide that actual movement of the earth and the material realm in order to get us to awaken to that potential and to trust this process. So when the moon meets Uranus today, we're going to really feel that internally. It is going to be something that we embody through our intuitive channel. And then in a trine to Mercury in Capricorn, this degree is really about God speaking through us, mediating this message from God, and it's coming through our objective mind. This is going to be reflected in just a couple of days when the sun comes around and trines Uranus at this point as well. So tomorrow is when Mercury trines Uranus, and that will become a much louder, much more obvious, mediated piece of information that comes through. A prophet that is seized by the voice of God, right? This will be way more obvious tomorrow on the 26th. But for now, with the moon meeting Uranus and trining Mercury, we're going to start feeling that stirring. We're going to start feeling that potential moving within us, even though we are, in fact, still embedded in the soil. There's not a lot of movement on the outside, but it's like all the biochemical processes in the seed, all of the enzymes and all of the processes that are happening within the seed that are activating the germination process. This is what this represents, and it'll become much more in our mind by tomorrow. So what else is happening today? That's really the crux of today, the 24th. A lot of stuff happening, bubbling under the surface. Okay, so as we move into what is Christmas Day, on the 25th, we see again, Mercury is going to then trine Uranus retrograde in Taurus, this earth trine. So again, what was bubbling under the surface internally and maybe subconsciously with the moon is going to be a direct line now through our conscious awareness with Mercury. Okay, so be aware of that it's going to come through very strongly with this trine, and it won't require any participation on our part. It's a trine. It is very well balanced and supported. Other aspects that are happening today, the moon is going to quincunx Venus in Sagittarius. Okay, this will require an adjustment to a certain extent, because the thing about the Taurus is, for as much as it is about the natural cycles and the natural world and substantiation, there is a certain amount of density and baggage that goes along with that. And the ego consciousness that Aries represents starts to interact with that objective reality. And we want to hold it. We want to have it. We want to gain it. And the moon is going to start, as it goes in further and further into Taurus. There is this possibility here of wanting to self-mobilize in order to gain something. We'll feel this compulsion to gain something in the objective world. And this is going to be, again, a stirring within us, a feeling of this. Whereas Venus right now in, well, tomorrow in Sagittarius, uh, is is a retribution type of moment. It is the widow's past brought to light. It is the karma of whatever deeds this cycle has witnessed, good or bad, will be brought to light, and it will intrude on the next cycle unless it is dealt with. There is a lot of unfinished business that this represents, and Venus is the ruler of Taurus. And so there's certainly going to be these past deeds brought to light on Christmas Day, in our relationships, in the material world around us, in the projects that we value, in the world that we value. All of these aspects that provide value and harmony and what satisfies us is going to, we're going to have to deal with this. We're going to have to see it for what it is and realize that we don't move past it. And the quincunx here with the moon is, well, that may be the case, but emotionally, we still are looking towards more of the gain, right? That the compulsion to gain something in order, to socialize our desires a little bit, and to mobilize for social advantage in this moment. And those things are not going to fit together. We're going to have to deal with the past first before we can gain anything, especially some sort of social advantage that is related to the objective world. So that's going to be a challenge. And there will be a need for an adjustment with that on Christmas Day. That's going to certainly be interesting. Beyond that, we have the moon then is going to come and then sextile Neptune in Pisces. And this is where this will be a crisis moment. I feel like this Venus quincunx the moon will be a crisis moment. And then from there is there's a surge of new potential after this crisis that, if we allow this potential to unfold without our ego restraining it, just as a natural and spontaneous arising out of an ocean of consciousness, Neptune and Pisces. If we are able to do that, then we will get the full transmission that Neptune and Pisces has been representing at this degree for weeks now, especially going direct on the 28th of November. It has been a steady stream of everything and anything that we could interact with. And if we have been able to, narrow our focus, we're really in the stream of it. And if not, we're catching all of it. I mean, there are no boundaries here at all. But in this moment, if we're emotionally able to allow this new potential to come out of this crisis, which will be the adjustment here with Venus and the moon and this quincunx, the adjustment will allow for something new to rise out very spontaneously. And if we're able to allow that without interfering with it, then we get the fullness of what Neptune and Pisces is allowing us, which is a direct line to source, a direct line to the mastery of spiritual growth and connection to source. So beyond that, then the moon comes around and is in a trine to asteroid Vesta, which is still in Virgo. And you don't see Vesta on this chart, but it's here at 20 degrees Virgo. And we're starting to Vesta rules the hearth flame. It is the center of the community. It is the it is the spark and the spiritual fire that keeps the community, because it is the fire of alchemy. It is the hearth fire. So we cook on it. It is what keeps us warm. We gather around it as a centerpiece. These are so important to keeping the community together, that Vesta was one of the most important deities in the Roman and Greek pantheon. So Virgo is her priestess, is her priestesses, and she is in the sign of her priestesses. And there is a sense that if we want to, the totalitization of our purpose here is to work together to get somewhere. And if we are focused on that, the trine to the moon in Taurus, there'll be a blessing, right? There'll be an awareness of the winds of destiny, right? We'll see them in the synchronicities, in the clouds, the shape of the clouds, the howl of the wind, or the whisper even of the wind. It's not even the howl, it'll be a whisper, right? There'll be a whisper here that will really support this process of coming together for a singular purpose to get to a singular place that is meant to support the cohesion of our collective. Okay, so there's so much going on just in these 2 to 3 days that is leading us to a place of this moment where our consciousness will finally start to sprout out of this new point, because we really came through with Jupiter and Saturn, that conjunction. We came through the portal, and we are now embedded as a new seed, and it's now developing right now. It's really quite remarkable. So if we go into the 26th, the day after Christmas, which will be Saturday. And we see here, the moon is going to move into Gemini. And that's when that sprout really pops up from under the soil and starts reaching towards the sun. So first, the sun is going to square Chiron, and here are we back on the warpath. Remember, this was, today's the 24th, so yesterday, the 23rd, when Mercury was square Chiron, okay? This was something that our objective mind and the communication and our thoughts were really focused on, this warpath, this collective movement towards conquest. Well, now the sun will be here on the 26th, so we had a mental construct of this, and now we're going to want to express ourselves through this collective conquest, being on this warpath. And again, it's going to square Chiron in Aries, which is about the wounding of the self. There's not going to be any room in this canoe for us to bring our baggage with us about our victimhood, our victim narrative, our savior narrative, the wounded healer that refuses to heal because they keep trying to heal other people because it's too painful to look at where this came from, because you can't really go back in time and heal the thing. You can't go back in time, and it's not that you can't go back in time and heal it. You can't go back in time necessarily and change those events. What you can do is let go of the identity of that. And that's really the how we really heal from this Chiron wound. But that requires going back and focusing on the individual self in Aries. And the sun is beyond that. It's like we have a process, a group integration of and a destination. We have somewhere we're going, and we are on the warpath, and there's not going to be any room here. And so this square is going to provide a real challenge to where our attention is going to get focused. And again, squares are not resolvable. We just have to lean into them and learn as much as we can and find out how we can express ourselves through this group conquest, where we're going, and at the same time, where we can still give ourselves and acknowledge and honor where we've come from and how we can move past our individual woundedness without feeding these dichotomy of the victim savior. Okay. Then beyond that, the moon is going to trine Pluto in Capricorn. So we have an Earth trine here as well. And Pluto has just been relentless and now has moved into a new degree. And I think that's really important because Pluto moves so slowly that when it moves to a new degree, the symbolic representation, the archetype that is associated with that degree is very noticeable. Whereas the Sun and Mercury and even Venus, when they move degrees, it's like every day or every other day. And so it moves swiftly through this. It's a lot more fluid. But when Pluto moves degrees, it is noticeable. And now it's moving into a degree that represents the reliance we have on our cultural traditions to provide stability and structure. And now that Pluto is here, it's going to start tearing all of that down too. So, what is, we, when you start getting to the late Taurus, I mean, we want to be the cultivation of natural energies for collective use, right? We want to be the park, the public park within us that is for everybody. And in a trine to Pluto, the thing is, this is where we create the space for that, because Pluto is going to just take away everything that we have been relying upon and building on and refining all of this time. It's going to start taking it away. And the moon is here. It's creating space for us individually and emotionally and intuitively to create something different, to create something new, to create a public park. A public park is just natural space, right? It's not filled with a bunch of stuff. That's what Pluto's getting rid of. It's going to get rid of all that stuff so that within us, it is just this vast open space that is there to just be enjoyed, right? As a natural space. This is a really important thing to consider because, there's going to be a lot of resistance to this, I think. And then the moon moves into Gemini and then is going to trine Saturn and trine Jupiter in Aquarius. And they are both at 2 degrees of Aquarius. This is an unexpected storm. Okay. 2 degrees Aquarius is an unexpected storm. And it represents the fact that no matter what we build as a collective, no matter how advanced humanity gets with our technology, even with our coherence with natural law, we still can't control what nature does. And even if we think we can, and there will always be these opportunities and there will always be these events that come along and just wipe out what seemed permanent and render it impermanent. And with Jupiter and Saturn here, not only is Jupiter the one throwing the lightning bolt, Saturn is going to solidify this process. And the trine to a Gemini moon is about being innocent enough and open enough that we will be rewarded with our faith and purity of heart. And it's going to take this unexpected storm to it's going to take this to take us individually to a place where we get to choose. Are we going to be open and pure and innocent and then receive the blessings of our innocence? Or are we going to resist and fall into a victim role when this unexpected storm comes through and destroys everything that we think is permanent? And again, here's Pluto here. Pluto in Capricorn, all the things that we've built, all the beautiful, refined aspects of our traditions and our culture are just getting swept away by Pluto right now. And this degree of Aquarius, 2nd degree of Aquarius, is the complete antithesis of what Aquarius is supposed to represent, is all of the potential of the human collective. It's always subject to being completely wiped out by an unexpected source of power, right? And I guarantee you, on some level, on the 26th, something is going to come about that is going to challenge our ability to stay innocent and pure of heart. But I also assure you that if we are able to emotionally stay in this place, we will reap the rewards on some level for our faith and innocence and our open-mindedness. Gemini is the objective mind and the ideas and the thoughts, and not really adhering to any one perspective in Gemini, being open to all of them. and there's massive change coming, and that was really clear today in the daily medicine reading, that we're in a moment of redemption, that rising of the phoenix, and what is to come is the closing of the cycle so a new one can be born. And we're going to be going through that in real time over the next couple of days. So that's this astrology report up through the 26th. So I'll be back on the 27th to give you the full moon report, which will be on the 29th. We have moon in Cancer. It's going to be beautiful. It's going to be all about being attuned to the heavenly resonance, really creating a space within us to be curious and emotionally willing to search for something new. So I will be back on the 27th to give that report. If you found this information helpful or beneficial, please consider subscribing to the channel, definitely hitting the like button. It helps the algorithm get this out to other people. Everything you need is in the description box below, including social media and the website. So if you're interested in booking a reading, if you go to Facebook page, I have pinned to the top of the page a holiday package, right? The beginner starseed package I'm offering at a discount right now. So you can book that right from the website if you're interested in that. It's my most popular package right now, and it's been mind blowing. The things that the work that I'm doing with people and the work we're doing together has been just amazing. So you can check that out as well. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful holiday, however you celebrate it. I love you, and I'll see you on the next report.